Today, we're going to talk about long-term care and my experience being the power of attorney for my mom. My mom's been in a nursing home for 142 days now, plus or minus. I'm learning a lot and trying to share that experience with you. So, if you find yourself in my shoes, it may be just a little bit easier for you. I'm telling you, there's a lot to learn here. This is my third video on long-term care. I'm going to link the other two. The first one I have, it talks about selecting a facility, the cost, semi-private rooms, ratings, rates are negotiable, kind of depressing place to go and visit these facilities. Video number two talks about paying for long-term care, getting on Medicaid and the realities of Medicaid, the staff, visitation, therapy, meals. Again, it's depressing going to these facilities. Today, I'm going to talk about billing, the paperwork, and insurance. And I got a hint here, it's not simple. So maybe this will make your life a little bit easier listening to my pain and what I've learned and what I do have some suggestions at the very end. So there are four parties involved in mom's care. You got the nursing home, you got Medicare, you got Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is a supplement to Medicare, and then you got the long-term care insurance provider. Getting them all to work together is the challenge. Now, first thing I'll say is the staff at all these facilities are great. They're very knowledgeable people. They care a lot. They're trying to make it easy, but I'm the watchdog. I'm the one watching everything because there's a lot of money involved in this. And you don't want a surprise of tens of thousands of dollars hitting you. So the nursing home, their office manager, business manager does a great job trying to get this together. But I'm telling you, every month there's activity. Every month there's audits that I'm conducting. I find some mistakes. I find some misunderstandings because it's all brand new to me. So each one of these stakeholders, the nursing home, Medicare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, long-term care, they all have different processes, they all have different standards, and all have different rules. Oh joy! Today, I'm really just going to be talking about Medicare, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and long-term care provider. I'm really going to be talking about them. So here's the rules. The rules, and these sound kind of, they're not simple, but yeah, they're not too complex. Medicare covers the first 20 days after you're in a hospital. So you go to a hospital, I believe you have to stay at least 3 days. Then they cover the next 20 days as long as they're making progress. Okay. Medicare will cover up to 100 days if they're still making progress. Okay. Now there is a copay of $204 a day, which adds up really fast. Okay. So after the 20 days of Medicare, the supplement picks up, Blue Cross Blue Shield picks up for another 10 days. So the first 30 days kind of covered 100%. Okay. Covered 100%. So then this copay kicks in after that if mom's progressing. So you're at 30 days. If they're still progressing, you can get covered by Medicare at the $204 copay. Now, also on day 31, since everything was covered with other insurance before, day 31 is when the 90-day exclusion period happens for the long-term care insurance. So this is 90 days out of pocket. That's when the clock starts ticking for the long-term care insurance. That's what most policies have, a 90-day exclusion period, they call it. So you pay 100% out of pocket. We're paying 290 days, $290 a day. So then at day 120, so you got the 30 days plus the 90, day 120, you start accruing benefits to be paid by the long-term care insurance. Our benefit is $264 a day, maximum $300,000 lifetime. That's about 3 years, a little over 3 years. Okay. You pay each month, you submit a one-page form, you get reimbursed. Okay. Not that complicated. You can kind of follow this. Okay. But let's add some reality. just for fun, just to make it a little more confusing. So let's go into this. Medicare covers the first 20 days. Blue Cross covers 10, no problem. This is reality. This is what happened for my mom. Mom continues to improve for 40 more days. So Medicare covers, but there's a 204 copay for the next 40 days. So you got 30, the next 40 days, you're at day 70. But we've been paying a copay for $204 for the 40 days. We're at day 70. Mom stops progressing, Medicare stops, the long-term care clock begins. Okay, so long-term care clock, that 90-day exclusion period begins. 27 days into the 90-day exclusion period, where we're paying 100% out of pocket, mom has a health condition that takes her to the hospital. She has a hospital stay of 5 days that's covered by Medicare. You know, not the rehab Medicare, not the copay Medicare, but just traditional Medicare, like you were, going in the hospital from your home. So she's there for 5 days. She comes back to the long-term care facility and picks up with day 71 of her Medicare rehab coverage. So you got this 100 days. It doesn't get reset back to zero for every event. You got 100 days total. Okay. So she got 70 days. She goes to the hospital. She comes back. She's on day 71 of Medicare rehab coverage. Blue Cross Blue Shield, that additional 10 that's already over. Mom progresses for another 25 days and then reaches a plateau and stalls. So she goes off Medicare. That triggers, off Medicare at 95 days. So she still has 5 days left. And she goes back on the long-term care coverage. Long-term care insurance, their 90-day exclusion period does not start and stop. As soon as you apply for it and that clock starts ticking, it doesn't stop if you go to the hospital. Okay. Medicare starts and stops when you go to the hospital up to this 100 days. Long-term care, I guess this is good news. Once it starts, it just starts. It doesn't matter if she's in the hospital or in the long-term care facility. Okay. So right now, when I was, we're at roughly day 72 of that trigger. We sit at day 72 of the trigger of the 142. Well, I'm not sure that makes sense. So anyway, yeah, forget my last comments. So we're in the 90-day exclusion period. So a lot of confusion here when, it's not that easy when things work out perfectly, but then when you go to the hospital and come back and you trigger starts and stop of Medicare and you have a continuing growth of that 90-day exclusion period, it gets real confusing real fast. So now you get the bill. Now Medicare, we in February got the bill for Medicare, the $204 exclusion from November. We just got the bill here in February. So you're trying to recreate this in your mind. Where was mom? Who's paying? Okay. Good luck. Was she in the hospital on these dates? Was she getting rehab at these dates? Was she on private pay? Where are you at in the exclusion period? All that kind of stuff. So I'm going to show you a spreadsheet that I created to help me keep track of this. Okay, I'm going to share my screen in just a second. Let's see. Okay, yeah, I'm ready to do it now. Well, before I do that, I want to say everybody was very competent, friendly, helpful, but I'm the watchdog. They don't work together great. Really, they file letters and emails and faxes to each other. The responsibility to make sure it's all done right is with the consumer. Okay. My advice, start a spreadsheet that gets real complicated real fast. So I'm going to share my screen. Let's see, just a second. I think you're looking at my screen now. So I modified this a little bit, take out some comments that I put in this section over here and took out my mom's name, but here's the calendar of events. First thing, mom went into the hospital for 5 days, Deaconess Hospital. I love that name in there. And it's covered by Medicare, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then she was at the long-term care facility. The first 20 days right here, covered by Medicare. Okay. Then the next 10 were covered here on Blue Cross Blue Shield. We're at day 30. This is all the things I just talked about. Then um, she was continuing to progress, so she was still eating into her 100 days of Medicare rehab that she's eligible for. I think that's a lifetime number. So I started collecting, $204 for every day, starting with day 31, 204, 408. So I'm collecting that money here. We go on down. Then at day 70, she stopped progressing. Our co-payments have totaled $8,160. We move over to private pay, day one of private pay. So we registered with their long-term care provider, said, hey, we're starting on this December 6th date here, day one. But this is out of pocket, first 90 days out of pocket. So we're going on down the stream here. All's fine and good until mom goes back to the hospital here, January 2nd, for another 5 days. Private pay, what's important, this exclusion period, and I said this, it just keeps counting. So day 27, you don't pick up on day 28 down here or after, it just keeps on counting, which I think is good news. So when mom comes back, she's back on Medicare rehab, day 71. Up here, we ended on day 70, so she picks up at day 71. The copays kick in, so I just added 204 to the previous number above. So she progresses down here to day 95. She stopped progressing. Here's the end of the Medicare, $204 copays. Here's the private pay in long-term care insurance count. We're at day 57. And then this is where we started paying the $290 a day again, out of pocket. Okay, so here's the running total of $290 a day starting here, February 1st. Okay, so then that's the time period we're in. So here's how much the $290 a day is accumulated to. Here's where my 90-day exclusion period ends on March 5th, and then we'll be able to start submitting our expenses to the long-term care provider. We pay the expenses to the long-term care facility, and then we'll get reimbursed like 30 days later. A lot of money going around. I have this color-coded, so by day when I get the bill, it'll say the coverage from the 18th of December to the 30th of December. I know where mom was and who was paying, and then I could cross-reference that with the bill I get. And I did catch a mistake, a $2,000 mistake this time. So that was the first bill we got. So there you go. That's what I'm doing. Stop sharing. That's what I'm doing with long-term care. I'm telling you, folks, it sounds simple, but create a spreadsheet, track where your loved one is every day, who's paying, where they are in their Medicare benefits, where they are with their long-term care benefits, who's paying, what's the copay, because it's complicated and it's a lot of money. Okay. Hopefully you learned something here. It's Joe out.